All right, so good morning, everyone. Today we'll first talk about the syllabus, go over some of the basic information we need to know to start this class. Um, again, my name is Salahuddin Masoom, you know me, so I go by my last name Masoom. So here's some information about me, how to contact. So I always prefer the emails than the phones because you may not get me over the phone because I may not be here. So we prefer the email we have here, meaning the Southwest email. I know that some of you may email me inside the pause, but sometimes I cannot reply from the pause because I have to get back to pause to reply. So, but I get the email all the time. So here is a little course description. This is, I think, this is where you first see that how the things you have learned in digital circuit class and the materials you have learned in the programming language class actually get together and merge. And the first time you will see that how you can write instructions to control the machine. Okay, so basically all the machines, meaning the digital machines, digital devices, are controlled by microprocessor. Okay, now the which is actually heart of all the digital devices. Now the microprocessor actually follows some low-level language instructions. Okay, so something like programming, but also it's a little bit low level. The reason we call it low level because they are very the instructions we write, those are pretty close to the machine. In the high level language like C++, Java, and scripting language, whatever you write, those do not require you to understand how things work, meaning how microprocessor work. But here, if you write low-level language, low-level instruction, you need to also know that how it will work in the machine. Okay, so which is very close to your machine. So you will get a chance to see how your digital circuit actually can work based on the instruction. Okay, so technically speaking, no matter how you write your program, meaning even if you're writing in the high-level language like C++ or in Java, all those instructions actually get decoded into low level by the compiler. Okay. Now this time we were not trying to take the help of the compiler to decode it. We'll be writing the instruction in low level language so that the machine can understand directly, microprocessor can understand directly, so that we will also have a better idea that how microprocessor works. Okay, how things work inside the digital devices. And we have several learning objectives. So make sure you read those objectives, and some of the terms you may not know at this point, and which is normal because that's why you are here. And we have two prereq. I'm sure you know all this prereq, but you might be wondering to see the names because some of the course rubric and numbers are actually changed starting from this form. So basically the first one is the digital circuit class that we did, which is equivalent to this class. So you don't have to worry, just the same class. Only the rubric and the number is changed. And the second one is programming for technician is the C++ class, which is again, I'm sure that you pass that class. So don't worry, since you don't see, I'm saying the rubric and the numbers do not match because those are actually changed by TBR starting from this semester, but the materials are still same. So again, regarding the learning instructions, I think you probably have an idea that how we run our classes since you have been with us in our digital city class, right? So we of course we do lectures sometime, and then based on the lecture we have quizzes. For some of the lectures we have labs in addition to quizzes, and all the lectures are recorded by Tegrity. Okay, so that we can listen to the lecture later. We can listen to the lecture from our cell phone, any mobile devices. If you install Tegrity free in your Android or Apple Mac devices. So, and also I'll probably quickly show you a little bit to remind you that the Tegrity is also searchable. Okay, so if you really want to listen the lectures of this class in case you have forgotten what you talked here, or in case you missed the class, so you can always go here to the course tool section and then click the Tegrity, which will open up a new window like this one, and you will see all the lectures recorded here by now. So at this point there is no lecture because there is nothing recorded. The first one is today, so you'll see starting from today the lecture is actually being recorded. And anytime you miss a class, you can always go here and listen the lecture, which is definitely a very good feature and good advantage we should take. But The bad news is, in case you miss the class and you come back, you tell, oh, I was not here, which is not valid in this class, because since you can listen to lecture, and we are assuming you will be listening the lecture even if you are not here. Okay. So, and also the good thing about this Tegrity, again, as I said, it has a free app for all the Android devices. It has free app for all the Mac devices. Okay, meaning all the tabs, iPhones, iPads, cell phones, Android, as long as you have those operating systems. And all you have to do is just go here. Once you click install the app, free app, Tegrity, in your mobile device, click my account and go here and click generate code. It will actually generate a randomized code for you. So your code will be different. Even if you click several times, it will be every time it's a new code, because it's actually generate a randomized code. All you have to do is just for the first time enter this code when you register, okay, into that software. That's just one time, first time. That's it. Once you do it, every time we have a lecture here which is recorded, you will be able to see and listen the lecture within 15 minutes. Okay. So that's just first time. And also all the lectures are searchable, which also I think is a very great feature, because for an example, let's say if you have like 5 lectures of like 1 hour each, then you have a total lecture of 5 hours. And let's say if you have to find something and you don't know where we discuss that, okay, what do? You have to listen or scroll and pretty much like, you know, find the lecture, find the topic, almost all the slides, and it takes a long time. Instead, what you can do is you can come to Tegrity and then go to the search tool here, type that word. Let's say for an example, you are looking for addressing mode. Just type addressing mode and press an enter. And what happens is all the lecture slides where we talked about the addressing mode will actually pop up here. So instead of listening the whole lectures, you can only listen those slides instead of having even listening the whole lecture that belongs to that is part of their slide. I'm saying that where that slide is coming from. You don't have to listen the whole thing; just listen the slide. Okay. So, and it's possible that the topic you are searching, we might have discussed that in several different lectures. You will probably see all those slides from all those different lectures. So, which is actually a nice feature, and even saves a lot of time. Okay. So, let's go back to the syllabus again. So, regarding the required text, we use a textbook for this class. So I just wrote the name of the textbook. So I probably will show you the textbook, but it's a bit of optional kind of thing. One of the reason is which we start the class. At some point at the beginning, if you realize that you need some more help, additional help, you want to read some additional materials, then of course you are welcome to buy the text. Otherwise, it is mostly optional. It is still under the required section because we have to mention there is a textbook, but most of the materials are very well explained, and a lot of quizzes and things that's based on the lectures. So, but still, if you want to have a textbook, we have one, so you can just buy one. And we also have a lab manual, just like the other digital or the computer classes. And I'll give you the lab manual at some point. We also have an additional text which is called Technical Data Handbook from Motorola. The reason is the microprocessor you use in this class is designed and developed by Motorola. Okay, so they have a Technical Data Handbook, so which actually comes free. Okay, which is available online, but what we did is we have the technical handbook here in PAWS under the lab section. Okay, so if you need it anytime, you can pull the soft copy, which is like an ebook. We'll need it for sure at some point, and not too much in this semester, but probably very frequently in the next semester. We need it a little bit in this semester as well. So next we have some hardware and software requirements. Okay, before I go there, make sure we also have a headphone so that you can listen to the lectures in case you have to. And we have software and hardware requirements. Those are just very common hardware and software requirements of Southwest. So I'm skipping all of those because those are common in all the classes, nothing different in this class. Now the evaluation, which is extremely important to understand. I'm sure that you probably have remembered some of those. We have quizzes for the lectures. We have sample test, right? And for the test, we also have tests. All of these are available under the quiz section we have in PAWS. And um, and I think you remember that in all of those quizzes, sample test, we have to get at least 65% to see the next one, right? But you have unlimited chances for the quizzes, you have unlimited chances for the sample test. So you can try it again and again to get 65% or more. I'd recommend you get 100%, and then you start the next one, right? And and also, all the quizzes, those have unlimited chances, and those do not have any time limits. Like if you start it today and if you finish it within next 5 days, it doesn't matter, okay? As long as you finish it before we start the next topic. But sample tests are time limited, meaning if you start the sample test, it's just like the test. So it will have pretty much the same time you have in test. You will have in test. But if you start it, if you don't complete it, but if you log out, it actually gets submitted automatically. So, but the good news is you can try it again. I'm saying, if you don't like the grade, you can always start over and try it. And the pulse records the highest grade in case of the quiz and sample test. Okay. Now we have lab assignments, of course, for every unit. We actually have several units in this class. So every unit has multiple lectures, several quizzes, and mostly one labs. So we have written lab reports for, I think, 2 labs, lab 3 and lab 4. And you also know that you can always see your current grade in pulse, right? Starting from the day 1, you all probably should have seen it already for this semester, which actually starts from 0%, okay? If you go to the grade section, you'll see at the very top, you have the grade populated, your total grade, which already you have earned. So starting from day 1 is actually since it starts from 0%, so for a long period of time, it will actually be failing grade. The reason is until you get 65%, your grade is like failing grade, and that doesn't actually indicate anything. You might have done a great job in the test 1 or test 2, but it still might be F. The reason is that actually tells that if you leave the class right now and don't do anything for the rest of the semester, this will be your grade. So I'm saying that doesn't mean that this will be your grade at the end of the semester. Okay, that means that okay, this is what I got so far, and if I don't do anything, and if I don't submit anything in future, no test, nothing, then this will be my grade. Okay, and you will see most of them that is like failing, because until you hit 65, your grade letter will not change because it will be just F. But that is sometimes I feel that is really good, because even if that is a failing grade, you can always check and see where you are standing compared to the rest of the class, because there is a little statistics button after the grade number where you can always click and check to see what is the average of the class at this point, and what is the, let's say, the distribution of grade of this class. At least the average tells you where you are. For an example, your grade is, let's say, 7%. That is a failing grade, of course, but you never know what is this 7% means. I'm saying, are you following the class? Are you with the class, or are you just behind? Nobody knows. So what you can do is, in this class, just click that statistics button. That will actually tell you what is the average of the class. Now, let's, for an example, if you're 7% and the average of the class is 15%, that means you're really behind, right? You have to work hard to get back to the class. But if you're 7% and the average is 5%, that means you're at least good, and you should, you're fine. So you always should try to run after the average, okay? Don't fall behind the average. Try to always make your grade better than average, which is a great strategy, so you will be, at the end, for sure, end this class with a good grade. But don't forget that the average gets changed every time somebody submits something. So, if it is 5% today, it will not be 5% tomorrow, because by the time, between the last 24 hours, somebody might have submitted something, the average will always get changed. So it's something like the average will always increasing, right? Will be increasing, and you actually have to run after the average, which is a good thing that you can do always in this class. So you can always keep track where you are standing compared to the rest of the class, okay? And I would recommend that just, take this advantage, because this is something which you probably don't see in other classes. Now we have grading scale, just the traditional Southwest grading. So 90 is A, 80 is B, 70 is C, and 65 is a passing grade with a D. Some of the interesting testing procedure, I'm sure we have seen it before, but I want to remind again that we'll have 2 tests, 1 final. So test is all the tests are actually the mutually exclusive, meaning the test 2 and test 1 have different syllabus. meaning everything we cover on the test 1 will not be repeated in test 2. That's why there was mutually exclusive. And again, just for the every test we have sample test, we must have to make 65% in each of the sample tests so that we can start the test on the day of test. This is just for you so that we can practice the sample test and master the skills you need to have a good grade for the test. And I think of course you know that all the tests we have in this class, just like the previous classes, are open book. So you can use your notes, other materials, any non-living object with you. But just in case, that doesn't mean that you don't need any preparation. Okay, I'm saying no matter how many materials you have, you still need to practice the sample test. You still need to finish all the quizzes, right? So and probably you probably remember that we also have a second chance in all the test part. But if you take the second chance, the pulse records the last grade in case of test. But the good thing is you at least have the second chance. So if you don't like your grade or if it is too bad, but if you just see what question you missed, because once you submit the test, you always see what question you missed. If you see the question you missed, you can always go back and try it, and you can make it better. I have seen it many times that students are taking the advantage of that and they're able to change their grade. And another thing is the test 1 and test 2, we don't offer most of the time any makeups. The reason is because you can always replace your test by the future one. Okay, in this class, any future test can replace your previous test, meaning if your test 2 is better than test 1, so your grade is automatically replaced, meaning your test 1 grade is automatically replaced by test 2. And same is true for the final, because the final can replace your test 1 and test 2. Okay, you will not see the changes in your grade book, but you will see the change on the grade number. Remember, there is, as I said, there is a grade number at the top. So if your test 2 is better than test 1, you will not see the test 1 is changed on the grade book, but it's actually in the equation, meaning at the top. That will actually have a huge bump because it's also replaced the test 1. Okay, and same is true for the final. So the good news is you have the hope to make an A or good grade in this class until the very last minute. Okay, but that doesn't mean that we don't have to study for test 1 and test 2 and we'll be just doing great in the final, because it's also hard to get the final better unless you understand what you did from the very beginning. Okay, but the good news is there is a plenty of room to make up, unless you in case you miss something, in case you don't understand something, you still have time, right? I'm saying you can always go back and understand and try and keep practicing the quizzes, and again get back to the test and make up, have a good grade of the test so that you can make up everything that you missed in the last test. So we have 30% coming from quizzes and sample tests. Sample tests are just like treated as a quizzes, except that those have just time limitation. We have 2 tests. Each one's are like 12.5%. Each 25%. We have lab assignments and reports worth for 20%. And we also have the final exam, which itself is like 25%. That's our total 100% grade mark distribution for this class. And regarding the attendance, we don't have any points for the attendance, but we strongly recommend you to be in the class so that you don't miss anything you have we are discussing in the class. You can always listen to the lecture in case you have to miss, but you can always ask for help or anything you need. So we have again, as I mentioned, that we do not replace that. We do not offer the makeups. The reason is because you can always replace the test by the future one. So in case you miss, for an example, in case if you miss the test 1, you can always replace that by test 2, because if the test 1 you miss, it is 0%, so your test 2 grade will automatically replace the test 1, because test 2 will be anyway like more than 0%, right, since you did the test 2. So automatically does it. So there are some bonuses. One is SET bonus. I'm sure you have probably got the bonus before if you took the digital circuit class with us. So we also have the Rate My Professor bonus at the end of the semester. Make sure you do all of these bonuses and just give me the confirmation page, so then I can add some bonus points added to your final, meaning added to the final exam grade. Here are some discussion, the email guidelines. So those actually are very traditional guidelines that we have in the Southwest. So I'm skipping some of those because those are not special to this class. And some of the technical support information. This is a tentative schedule, meaning the sequence of the class. As you can see, we have several units. So I try to give a heads up of these units. So most likely that you may not understand most of these units, because most of the names you will see here, titles you will see here, probably are new to you, but that's just normal. So don't worry about that. We have some additional information about the student services, add, drop, withdrawal days, academic misconducts, and open labs. But all of those are very common to all other classes in Southeast. So this syllabus is right now online. So anytime if you want to see the syllabus, you can always go back to the content section and go to start here and click syllabus. In case we have any new changes, you can always see it here. Okay. So that's why we did not print it, because a lot of times we sometimes have to change. So we just want to print again and again. So you can see everything here is all online. And one more thing I want to show you, that you can always, for an example, this is your interface. This is how exactly you see this class. So there is a subscription you can do with pause. I have seen these very useful. What you can do is you can click here and go to the notification section, and then you can subscribe here for getting the text to your cell phone or to your email address, which actually will send you a lot of different reminders for different things. For an example, let's say if we posted your grade, or if something is changed, or if any deadline is approaching, you will get a text sent to your cell phone as a reminder. Okay. So which is actually really a good feature, so you don't have to memorize all the deadlines. You can always get a reminder 2 days before it's due. You will get all the reminder, all the updates. For an example, let's say if I post your lab grade, you will get a reminder through your cell phone. Okay, check your grade because the grade is posted. So you get all sort of updates from here. So in case you want, you can take advantage of this free subscription service, which is really I think useful. And we have the content section here. So almost all of the lectures that we'll be having in this class just are here. We also have the video lectures, which are some of the lectures, probably not all, but I'll probably post all of the lectures. But most of these lectures actually are pulled from YouTube. But if you want, you can always go back and listen to the lecture from the Tegrity. But the advantage of this section is there are some advanced lectures, meaning, let's say for an example, you are ahead of class and you want to do a little bit more than class. So you can always go here and listen to the next lecture if you want. So we'll have all the future ones as well. So we have a lab section where we have the lab materials, and for each of the lab, we also have, in some of the labs, we have also lectures, so which are actually inside the lab folders. Okay. So we have, so for an example, for each lab, you'll see a lecture, you'll see some procedure. Some of the labs you might see some report guidelines, because we have to write a report for those labs. So we'll probably talk about those when we'll do the lab. Any question regarding the syllabus, grading, the content section, integrity, or notification, subscription? All right, so let me stop this presentation here.